Some true stories are disturbing, not because of what you see, but because of what you can never truly know. Our first account is from Emma, who was a college sophomore. It happened on Thanksgiving. She'd been quite sick, just starting to recover, but was determined to keep a promise. She'd agreed to check on a coworker's elderly cat who needed daily medicine. She also had a separate, stubborn plan to retrieve her tennis gear and bowling ball from her dad's place across town before a planned game. Being 19, carless, and determined, she mapped a long route using the city's public transit. The trip was exhausting. By the time her final bus transfer was due, it was past 9 on the holiday, and she was stranded at a deserted stop. She was a small woman, bundled in a thick coat, laden with a heavy ball and sports gear, and still coughing violently. The bus kept not arriving. A car pulled up. Several young men were inside, talking and laughing loudly in a language she didn't recognize. One got out, and the car sped off. The man, tall and powerfully built, wearing a face covering, walked over and sat right next to her on the empty bench. Emma felt a prickle of alarm, but buried it. She was just focused on the bus. Then she felt a weight on her shoulders. His arm was around her, tight. Her mind blanked with shock. He mumbled something, maybe asking if she was okay. She whispered that she was fine, just waiting. He let go, only to do it again minutes later, this time his hand stroking her back. She rationalized maybe he was trying to be comforting, but her gut screamed danger. She saw her bus finally approaching. What would he do when she got on? She slipped from his grip as the doors opened, muttering that this was her ride. His reply made it chillingly clear he intended to board with her. Paralyzed by fear in her raw throat, she couldn't speak to the driver. She stood, hoping he'd sit. He did. She texted a friend, her hands trembling. She couldn't lead him to the cat's apartment or to her own home. She had one lifeline. Her workplace, a restaurant in a secured outdoor mall, was one stop before her intended destination. Her coworkers would still be there closing up. The back entrance had a code. It was her only chance. When the bus stopped, he got off with her. His hand clamped onto her shoulder immediately, his grip vice-like. She had to shuffle beside him. Every step toward the dark alley behind the mall was agonizing. Could she break free and cover the distance to the door in time? As they neared, a miracle. The outer trash enclosure door was propped open, and two of her coworkers were standing there, the inner door ajar. Using a slight shift in his grip, she wrenched herself free and sprinted past them. She tried to gasp a warning, her voice a ragged whisper. He followed me. Shut it. Her coworker slammed the metal door. Not 2 seconds later, the handle began to rattle violently, followed by heavy pounding. From the safety inside, they could see the man pacing outside the restaurant windows before he ducked into a shop across the way. Security was called. A shaken coworker later drove Emma to complete her cat-checking duty, then home. Days later, management asked if she wanted to press charges. She wanted answers first. Who was he? What did he say to security? She never got them. The incident was filed away, a question mark of terror, until the next Thanksgiving invitation brought it all flooding back. Sometimes the greatest terror is the mundane moment that twists into a trap with no explanation ever given. Our second story is from Jeremy, about a reunion that spiraled into pure dread. An old middle school friend, let's call him Ben, had moved to a remote mountain town. After years of silence, Ben invited Jeremy up for a winter weekend, citing the beautiful snow. Jeremy, nostalgic, agreed. The drive up was long and isolating, darkness falling early. Ben's house was an old wooden structure, one of only a few scattered on the mountainside. From the moment Jeremy arrived, something felt profoundly off. Ben's demeanor was slack, his speech slow and halting. The house was sparsely furnished, belonging to his recently deceased grandparents. A long, dark hallway stretched from the living area, leading to a bathroom and empty bedrooms. That black rectangle of a hallway unnerved Jeremy deeply, for no reason he could name. The first night, trying to sleep on the pull-out couch, Jeremy was jolted awake around 2 a.m., the sound of someone running fast back and forth across the floor above him. Then silence. He wrote it off as his friend being restless.
The next day, Ben was vacant, barely engaging. He noticed him frequently disappearing down that dark hall. That second night, during a howling snowstorm, Jeremy woke again for soft scraping sounds from the hallway, followed by a distinct tap on the wall behind the couch. He faced the impenetrable darkness, his heart hammering. The third night was the breaking point. After another strained evening, Jeremy fell asleep on the couch. He awoke abruptly around that same witching hour, but his body wouldn't obey him. Sleep paralysis held him rigid. Only his eyes could move, and they were drawn to the end of the hallway. A figure stood there, perfectly still, engulfed in shadow. It was Ben, or at least Ben's shape. It stood, a silent sentinel, watching him from the dark for an impossibly long minute. Then it turned slowly and walked into the empty guest room, swallowed by the blackness. When his body unlocked, he was drenched in cold sweat. Was it a hallucination? His gut said no. He forced himself down the hall. Peering into the guest room, he saw a shape, a person, standing facing the far window. He fled upstairs to Ben's bedroom. Ben was asleep. He shook him awake, frantic. Ben was irritated, confused. He refused to go downstairs. When Jeremy insisted someone was in the house, Ben's expression shifted to something worse than confusion, a look of grim, knowing resignation. "Ben," Jeremy demanded, "who is that downstairs?" Ben just looked at him and shrugged. That was enough. Jeremy didn't care about the storm. He threw his things in his bag and bolted. As he reversed out of the driveway, he glanced up at the house one last time. In the window of that guest room, the silhouette was still there, watching him leave. The most unsettling horror is a friend who becomes a stranger in a house of shadows. Jeremy never got a real answer. Ben later texted a curt, "I'm fine," and cut all contact. Whatever happened in that mountain house, whatever Jeremy saw, remains a frozen, disturbing mystery. These stories linger because they're rooted in the violation of ordinary safety, a bus stop, a friend's home. If these true disturbing accounts stayed with you, please like this video. It helps Winds of Thought continue to share these chilling narratives. Stay aware and trust those gut feelings.